Hello everyone, this is Pal Ponder on Weather coming at you with another video. In this update, we're going to be talking about two big snowstorms as we start December. So before I do get started, if you do like weather related content, please subscribe to my channel as I will upload about 5 videos a week to keep you updated. And I do ask you to share this video with your friends and family on social media. All right, so let's kind of delve into it. We'll take it one step at a time. Here's the latest 500 millibar pattern of the European model on Tuesday, and you can see a deepening low setting up over the Carolinas, bringing some really colder air for the southeast. And up above that to the north, we'll have our first big snowstorm that will break out in the Ohio Valley coming up on Monday through Wednesday. And then back behind that, we have another developing trough that will deepen over Texas and again bring rain showers to the south, but then a big snow event to the north of that, possibly in Oklahoma, getting into Kansas and Arkansas and Missouri. And you can see the Rex blocking pattern that we talked about to set the stage for these events. So let's kind of walk you through it. Here's the first initial one. This is coming up on Monday morning, and you can see rain to the southeast of this, but over back behind it where we have that colder air kind of pulling in, we see some snow starting to break out. And I think on the very edge will be Chicago, so you'll have a light dusting, but this will get into places, you know, southeastern portions of Indiana, and then we might have a changeover, a little bit of a mixed precipitation at Indiana as this system kind of gets going for Monday morning. But as we set the stage into Monday afternoon to Monday afternoon, this will bring snow on the backside and start to really kind of break out, and you might actually see a dusting into Alabama and Georgia, but I would not place my bets on that. But then you might see a lighter dusting into Tennessee, a little bit heavier amounts into start places like Lexington, Kentucky, where you see some of those darker blues. But to the north of that, it's really going to be setting the stage for parts of Indiana and especially Ohio. If you live in Ohio, you're going to be kind of in the bullseye for this system, especially places like Dayton, places like Toledo. I think you're going to see some of the higher snow amounts with this event. But then this snow will kind of transition into snow even north of you guys, like in places like Detroit, getting into Lansing, Michigan. So as this pushes through, you can, on the backside, there are going to be some wind gusts. So the criteria for a blizzard would be a 35 mile per hour wind for 3 hours or longer. It's probably going to be on the borderline at times, but you can see wind gusts throughout this duration event of 20-30 miles an hour. And there are going to be pockets of this, especially early on Monday night into early Tuesday morning, that we could see some of those higher wind gusts for several hours at a time and portions of Indiana. And as this low will swing across, these winds will die down a little bit. So it's going to be on the borderline if this is actually going to meet blizzard-like criteria. But either way, it's going to be cold, it's going to be snowy, and those winds are going to be blowing 20, 30, if not higher times at times. And then as we transition into Tuesday morning, that's where the low kind of really changes over to more or less all snow in Ohio. So now we're getting into Columbus, we're getting into Dayton, Ohio, we're getting into Cincinnati now, where you can see a transition to all snow in Toledo, and especially along the lake, right around the lake, you could see some of those higher amounts as we transition into some of the higher, lake effect snow amounts. And then you'll get portions of Detroit. And this is a little bit into kind of a Lansing, Michigan. But again, this major setup is really setting up over the Ohio Valley. But as we swing in a little bit later in the period, that's when we'll swing across, getting portions of West Virginia down in the mix. And we start to see a changeover by Tuesday midday into portions of, say, like Pittsburgh, where you're going to start off of rain, but we'll see a transition into a snow setting up for you guys in Pennsylvania, especially the western parts of Pennsylvania. But as this transitions into all snow on the backside, this will move from west to east. But as we get into Wednesday morning, that's where you'll start to see some of those higher amounts start to kind of totaling up in places like Pittsburgh, where I do think you're going to be in the borderline to say 3 to upwards of 6 inches from this event. But this is kind of where it stops. I mean, this is it's kind of a winding down at this point. So if you live in central PA, eastward, I don't think you see much of anything for this event, especially guys in the Northeast. This is all going to be a rain event for you guys. So this is really setting up for the Ohio Valley coming up Monday through Wednesday. And you can see some of the snowfall totals that, again, you may see a dusting in Alabama and Georgia, but I would not hang my hat on that. And again, more of a dusting, kind of a light mix in Tennessee. But some of those higher amounts get into places like Lexington, Kentucky. You can see, 3 to 6 inches. Getting into portions of West Virginia and getting into portions of Indiana. So the west side's not going to see much. But on the east side, yeah, you can see a demarcation line of 3 to 6 inches, even higher amounts. But the bullseye is going to be in places like Dayton, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, Toledo, Ohio. This is where you're going to see some of those, if not up to a foot of snow, if not higher amounts at times, and getting into Cleveland. And as this transitions further north, lower amounts, and Detroit, maybe 3 to 6 inches from this system. And then as this swings, eastward, again, you're talking anywhere from 3 to 6 inches on the west side of PA, but central eastward, not much of anything from this event. But back down to the south of that, I mean, you guys in the southeast, this is going to be your hard freeze coming up on Wednesday morning. So you're talking December the 2nd. Even places like in the Florida Panhandle will see their first freeze of the season. Places into Atlanta, we're talking 27, 26 degrees for you guys. So definitely a hard freeze is 28 or lower. So I definitely see a hard freeze coming up for a good chunk of the southeast from that first setup. And here's the second setup. And so this is a little bit of more of uncertainty, but the European model has been pretty consistent with this event. So it all depends on this track of this upper level low, that second low. But as this kind of swings across by the third, getting into the fourth, this will set the stage and kind of deepen over Texas. And on the south side, again, more rain will break out on the south side where they're dealing with a lot of flash flooding right now into places like Houston. So another rainmaker, but on the north side, we start to see a transition into snow. So we could see a light mix kind of changing over into Thursday night by Friday morning at that time. But then all snow event breaking out over Oklahoma with this second system. And as this kind of deepens, this will be the second system. By the third or the fourth, we could see a pretty good snow breakout and portions of Oklahoma where they have not seen much snow. We haven't seen any snow hardly at all in Dallas. Would this be the event to break the snow drought? It's been literally since about 2015, March of 2015, so they've seen any kind of substantial snow whatsoever. So a lot of times you just get like a cold, chilly rain in North Texas. So it all depends on this upper level low. But this would be mainly probably in Oklahoma, Kansas, getting into Missouri, getting into Arkansas event. But this could really slow down and start to deepen. And as these darker blues, man, you could see some of these really higher snowfall totals as we kind of transition throughout Friday, getting into early Saturday morning by then. As we get some of those higher totals and kind of deepen over places like Oklahoma. And here's the first initial, snow totals, and these are pretty impressive. I mean, like I said, the European model's been, fairly consistent with this type of setup, so it all depends on the track of this second system, obviously. But if this were to come to fruition, we could have a bullseye setting up in portions of upper Oklahoma, getting into Kansas, getting into Missouri, and places like Arkansas could easily see over a foot of snow. And if this holds true, we could see a little bit of snow even in the Dallas-Fort Worth area as well. So obviously I'll be fine-tuning this event, but we do have two big snowstorms on the way for December. So this is going to be nothing like how we started last December. as a very colder pattern is setting up over at least the southern end portions and getting into the Ohio Valley as we start December. So I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video. Definitely leave your comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel to catch me in the next video where I protect you before and after the storm.